Hey everyone, I hope you're well. It's time for the first tier list for Season 5. Now I say the first because I feel like this one is going to adjust in the future when we learn more about this meta, but I wanted to get my first opinions out there because there's some really interesting meta changes. I'm really liking the legend meta this season. It's very balanced. Now, my opinion may change and you may disagree, but at the end of the day, all of this research is based on streaming the game, asking my viewers for opinions, playing the game, watching other streams, and recording my footage and then looking back through it. Speaking of recording footage, this new gameplay recording software called Loki reached out to me because they wanted to sponsor me to show you all what they're about. Essentially, you open it up, choose which games you want it to record, and then jump straight in. You do have controls over things like bitrate and frame rate too, and you can even choose places to leave timestamps by using Control F2. You can save all of your videos locally, but they'll also upload, so they're backed up to your Loki account, and you can limit how much local storage is used up. It's basically a super convenient way to make sure you're always clipping your biggest moments. I can't tell you how many times I've done something incredible in game and forgot to press record, so Loki is actually something I'm going to be using on the daily now. The built-in editor is also super awesome. It's like Plays TV, but you have much more control over features. If you want to check out Loki, here's the link. You can find it in the description. Okay, so this season I'm going to do something a little different because I think that there's such a balanced legend meta that we're changing up the tiers a little bit from the last time. So this is what the tiers looked like last time. Now this time we are mixing it up. So we have C tier. C tier is a legend that is, although decent enough and fun to play and doesn't have any fundamental issues really, they definitely deserve a buff. Then we have B tier. B tier is a bunch of legends that you can definitely do well with, both in casual and competitive ultimately, and there's nothing wrong with them really, but I do think they need a little bit of a push, a tiny bit of a push to be put with the rest of the legends. And then we have A tier. Now A tier is all of the legends that can be played very well at high level play, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these legends in scrims and competitive play and tournaments. And then we have A+. A+ are legends that are absolutely needed in a way, like you'd expect to see at least one of these on a pro team. And then we have S tier. You're going to see this legend on every team. I think we know who that's going to be. Now obviously this tier is more aimed towards high level competitive play, so that's the thing, right? All of these legends are decent enough that you can play them right now. It doesn't matter, it really does not. They are balanced enough, so if you're worried that your legend is underpowered, don't worry, just enjoy playing them. Everyone's going to be balanced and changed in the future. Play who you like. I think that's very important. Either way, let's get into this tier list. Now, we're starting with Octane. Octane is C tier. I've kind of bumped him up a little bit because they adjusted his hitbox. He got a small cooldown timer reduction, but still, Octane is waiting for his big buff that was supposed to go live in Season 5, but they just couldn't quite get it out of the door. So Octane is still a legend that lacks any real potential for team play. I mean, the jump pad can be used. I've used it quite a few times to get up somewhere on high ground with my team, but yeah, it's not perfect. It needs a little bit of love there. Octane's tactical and passive kind of basically cancel each other out. I think Octane, once again, needs a new passive, and the current passive needs to be part of his tactical. It's just built in, right? That to me would make him perfect. But anyway, Octane's getting a buff in the future, so maybe he'll be pushed up. One thing that does go in Octane's favor now is he is technically the fastest legend, now that Pathfinder got his nerf. You would never be able to chase down a good Pathfinder player before his nerf, but now with Octane, you can chase down anybody, so that's kind of good. Like I say, he's the worst, but he's not far off from the rest, honestly. I really don't think so. Next we have B tier. Now this is going to be tricky. I think all of these legends I've ranked in a specific order, but they're very, very close. Now, number 12, this was a tricky one. I've put Krypto here. I think Krypto can be very, very powerful in a well-coordinated squad, and I do think that his ult is really, really good, but you'll see later why I think Krypto's drone is quite a big disadvantage to the team, especially now we have such a great tracker in Bloodhound. Bloodhound's recent cooldown buff was incredible, by the way. So I do think Krypto needs a small push upwards, a tiny bit of a push, and he could end up being a really highly competitive legend. But that's kind of the issue here, because Krypto is in this position where he has a really useful utility-based kit that if you push it up too much, he's going to become very, very strong, as you'll see later in this video with a couple defensive legends. Now, we'll see how he is. I think this is a good spot for him. He's okay. As a casual player though, he kind of lacks, you know, he doesn't really have anything that you can use as a solo. He's super team orientated, which kind of sucks. Like, I've seen some pretty cool plays with the ult, which you can do solo, which is fair enough, but yeah, he's a bit of a strange one. Like, he's almost there in terms of competitive nature for a team, but not quite. Then we have Revenant. Now, Revenant, I don't know. I feel like in a way, Revenant and Krypto are kind of on the same level, but I would prefer having Revenant's totem and a strong push with a team than the Krypto drone, honestly. I think a well-timed, a well-coordinated Revenant ult against a team can be so much more valuable. So that's why I've put Revenant a tiny bit higher. Revenant's passive, it kind of needs a bit of work, honestly. He can still be heard, it turns out, very, very slightly whilst he's crouching around, and the climb height needs to be improved, especially now we have Pathfinder and Lobo. Revenant's tactical is pretty good, actually. It's really, really strong, so that's a very good thing. I think Revenant's tactical is really good. He is a bit big, but yeah, he's okay. He just somehow doesn't really feel like a highly competitive choice. Next we have Lifeline. Now, Lifeline's been getting a lot of hate recently, and I understand why. Some of her uniqueness has kind of gone with Gibraltar being, you know, taking her role, and I think that some of her value has kind of been taken from that. But Lifeline is this legend that's always been very unique, and she's never really gone through that many changes. It's always been the rest of the game that has manipulated how good or bad she is. Now, I'll talk about low profile in a second, but Lifeline now kind of has a small buff in Season 4, once again because of how the rest of the game has evolved. Gold Shield's changing, right? That is a big thing. Nobody else has fast heal now. So Lifeline is the only legend which has 24/7 fast heal. Of course, in Gibraltar's Dome Shield you get that too, but it's not as versatile, right? If you pair fast heal, by the way, with the Golden Shield, it is incredible. It is incredible. It's really, really, really good. And you have Evo Shield, so popping a bat really fast with Lifeline is really good. Like, she can be a really strong combat medic. Now, I'd like to see her healing adjusted a little bit. I'd also like to see the ult in the ultimate improved a little bit, but like, besides that, she's pretty decent. And yes, there was a nerf to low profile legends where if you shoot them in the legs now, it does full chest damage, which sucks for Lifeline because she's like 90% legs. That's pretty bad, but she still has a small hitbox. She's still a very versatile legend. She's not as bad as you think, friends. Give her another chance. I'm also seeing a lot of Predators and high level players using Lifeline because of her fast heal and her revive shield. So you can get your teammates up faster anywhere, not just in the dome, which is really, really valuable actually. This is why she is a minus tier. I don't really see her that often in actual tournaments, but she is almost at the point where she would be put in actual tournaments. She is actually a pretty decent legend, honestly, and that's why the devs are talking about side grading her, because if she gets an upgrade she would become too powerful. So it is a difficult thing. She is in a difficult place, but chances are she'll get some adjustments in the future, but not necessarily a buff, and hopefully not any other nerfs. Next we have A tier. Now, first things first, it's been tricky, right? Last season I ranked Bangalore really high, but I kind of focused more on a casual element. This season, with each tier means a specific thing. So for A tier, that means they are a very good legend, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of these legends in scrims, but you're not going to see them on almost every team, right? That describes Bangalore to me perfectly. Her ult can be a really good repositioning tool. Her passive is really incredible. Tactical is pretty good at times, but it can get pretty messy, and she has a really good hitbox despite not having low profile. So the reason why Bangalore has never really changed is because she's just always had a decent kit, right? She doesn't need a change. She's just pretty decent. There's not really too much else to say about her. Now, next up, we have Bloodhound. Bloodhound's moved up a lot. Bloodhound had so many small changes. Now that they have got their latest change, they're really good. They have basically done something that I was hoping for. Like in Season 4, I said Bloodhound would be perfect if they reduced the cooldown of their tactical. They did that, exactly that, from 35 seconds to 25 seconds. Not only that, they also increased the time that the scan duration goes on for an extra second. So you can see the location of players for an extra second. Bloodhound is such a strong legend for playing really aggressive with a squad now, and I'm definitely seeing more high level players, pro players using Bloodhound. Like, a lot of people are going to be using Bloodhound in tournaments. I have that feeling, right? Bloodhound's almost there. I wouldn't be surprised. So I'm definitely excited to see what happens in tournaments now with Bloodhound's change. So yeah, just really decent, really great. Still a bit of a big hitbox, especially with Bloodhound's big head. Next, in number 7, in A tier as well, we have Pathfinder. Pathfinder got a significant nerf to the cooldown on his grapple, which is now in line with Lobo's and Wraith's kit. Now, I hate to say it, but Pathfinder's grapple cooldown was always too short. He was just, at the end of the day, his tactical ability couldn't be compared with anybody because you could just grapple so much out of every situation. So I do think it's a bit too high. I'd like to see it adjusted a tiny bit, but it's definitely putting Pathfinder more in line with the rest of the legends. Pathfinder does have his recon ability, which is really useful in high level play, which is why you're still going to see him in a lot of scrims, like a lot, and tournaments. And Pathfinder's zipline it's okay. It's a quite good repositioning tool. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. Now, on top of this, Pathfinder also has a ridiculous hitbox. It's not only that he's really small, like really small limbs, but when you crouch spam with Pathfinder, it's so hard to hit him. So hard. So if you can just master like strafe spamming with a few little crouches, you were going to survive so many fights with Pathfinder just because of that. So that's why he's still pretty highly ranked. His nerf wasn't that big of a deal, really. I know a lot of you Pathfinder mains are upset, and I can totally understand that. But yeah, he's still pretty decent. Next we have Mirage, the worst legend in the game, has basically jumped up past half of the other legends. A god tier Mirage player is going to be so good. I mean, there's so much potential for outplaying players, and also on top of that, he has some team play potential now. He can respawn people whilst invisible, revive people whilst invisible. It's really good. This is a really good change. I do think we'll see some Mirages in high level play, in competitive, in scrims, but I don't think we'll see many. I just think that a good Mirage player, like with some legends, there's a certain skill cap, a certain level of skill. You'll get to that point and you're basically like every other player in terms of that mechanic. Mirage, the sky's the limit. Like, there's so much you can do with him. You can get really good with the way the decoys work now. So we're going to end up seeing some god tier Mirage players. So he's an A tier. I mean, he's not an A plus tier because, like I say, he's not going to be in like scrims all the time. Next we have Lobo in A tier at number 5. Now, a lot of you are going to question this choice, right? And the main reason actually is because of her ultimate. In the late game, in a scrim or a tournament, if you can put your ult down and just collect armor when you need to, or meds, which you wouldn't otherwise be able to get because you're stuck in a really small hole or a building, this is going to be super valuable. Like, you don't understand. Like, I think Lobo is nearing on A plus tier just because of this, but obviously you can only pick 3 legends. That's why she's A tier. It's really only this that makes her so competitive. Now, her tactical as a solo movement based ability is incredible. I think it's better than the grapple. I think that yes, you have a delay, blah, but you don't understand how powerful it can be. You can get through windows, through tiny cracks. You can go from basically on the ground to jumping on top of a massive tower vertically above you in an instant. And with some good practice, learning how to strafe and hide behind objects when you throw this bracelet, it becomes so powerful. It's really good. People are asking for a buff for Lobo. I don't think that will happen. If she gets a cooldown buff on her tactical or an adjustment to how the delay works, then she is going to be overpowered, honestly. I do think that. So yes, I know there's going to be a lot of disagreement here. People are going to be saying, why have you put Lobo above Mirage? But it's mainly because of the competitive utility tied with some really good tactical use. Now the passive is pretty good. I think that it's great to be able to run through a town and pick up like any items that you may have otherwise missed. It's actually, yeah, it's pretty valuable. It's a pretty decent passive, so it's alright. Now we're moving into A+ tier category. Now, all of the A+ tier legends are legends you're going to commonly see pro players, high competitive players, and tournament players using. If you use these legends yourself, you are going to do well if you play competitively. If you play for the win, you play in a scrim nature. Now, otherwise, these legends may not always do that well. You lose mobility, you don't have as much fun sometimes with these legends, but they are very strong. And funnily enough, they're all defensive characters. It makes sense, right? Positioning is important, getting high placements and getting the win is all about positioning. So Gibraltar, well, we know why Gibraltar is so good. He's a tank with a gun shield. You can put his dome down. It's really strong. He got a small nerf, but it doesn't really do much, really. The dome duration is still long enough. The ultimate can be devastating, especially late game. He can revive people faster, heal faster under his dome. He is such a strong choice. However, Gibraltar is only number 4 because I think 2 other defensive legends are better because of their ability to hold down buildings and areas to stop players getting access. Number 3, we have Caustic. Caustic's change, which stops teammates from being slowed in the gas, is ridiculously strong. Players can now set up a building late game and do really well, and then when the ring comes in, Caustic can just throw down the ultimate into it when it's a really small ring, do health damage, take everybody in the area, and get a relatively safe win in this way. It's so strong. I do think that they're going to revert this because it is ridiculously strong. Of course, it can throw down a gas trap, shoot it, and res a friend in the gas trap with no problem now. Of course, it can lock down an entire room with a single gas trap. You do not understand. If you think Caustic's bad, just go and watch some of the pro players right now. Trust me. Now, we have Watson at number 2. A lot of people are like, why? Why'd you put Watson so high? She's such a boring legend to play. Her kit, like, in a casual game, how often will you actually use your fences? Hardly at all, right? But like I say, A+ tier is about high competitive play, and a Watson ult in a building is crucial. Alongside all of the fences, it's crucial. You see Watsons in every pro team ever, like 90% of pro teams. So it's because of this defensive potential late game. In fact, not just late game, but throughout the game. It's all about setting up somewhere and just securing a location, securing rotations, and you need Watson to do that. It's simple. I mean, she may be a bit boring to play in casual, and, but you have all of the other legends which are very decent anyway. Next we have S tier. S tier for Wraith. She has the smallest hitbox in the game. She's really hard to hit. When she strafes with a wingman, it's like she's... oh my goodness, she moves so fast. It's ridiculous. Her passive is okay, it's pretty decent, especially when you're not aware of what's going on around you, but it's her other abilities which really shine. Her tactical is really powerful to get out of dangerous situations, especially if there's multiple squads engaging, right? That tactical can buy you enough time to just disappear from the game and let the third parties just collapse on each other and you can escape. It's really crazy, but it's the ult really that has this really variable repositioning power that's so useful in high level play. I mean, you can use the ult to get from one location to another safely and not get shot. And in ranked, or not ranked, but tournament play, it's all about going from one location and safely rotating into the next ring, and the portal is just basically crucial for that. So that's why she's S tier. That's it. That is my list. Thank you so much to Loki for sponsoring this video. You can check it out by clicking the link in the description or the pinned comment. Let me know what you think about this list. Is it good? Is it not? How would you change it? Let me know. Leave your feedback below. I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio. Did you know I stream almost every day from 7 PM UK time or 11 AM Pacific Standard Time? You can catch me live right here on YouTube, so make sure you have notifications turned on. I also have a new members program. Become a member for $2.99 a month, get your comments highlighted in videos, get a cool badge in live stream chat, get access to these cute emotes, and also gain access to my members tips videos, where you can ask me for any tips and I'll be making new videos weekly to help you improve your own game. Click the join button or click the link in the video description to get involved.